Namaste everyone.
Namaste.
As we continue with the Balabharati Prashikshan, it's a great day for us that we have among us the famous orator, thinker, thought leader, educationalist, motivational speaker, space scientist, and above all, a person who propagates Dharma. Here, he's going to tell us the importance of Dharma today. We will start with a chanting by Baluji from Abu Dhabi. Balu.
यं वैदिकामन्त्रदृशः पुराणा इन्द्रं यमं मातरिश्वान्नमाहु वेदान्तिनो निर्वचनीयमेकम् यं ब्रह्मशब्देन विनिर्दिशन्ति शैवायमीशं शिवयित्यवोचन् यं वैष्णवा विष्णुरिति स्तुवन्ति बुद्धस्तदार्हन्निति बौद्धजैना सत्श्रीयकालेति च सिद्धसन्त शास्तेति केचित् प्रकृतिकुमार स्वामेति मातेति पितेति भक्त्या यं प्रार्थयन्ते जगदीशितारं स एक एव पुरतियः.
So we were speaking about Dr. TPS. Dr. TP Shashikumar is basically from Kannur, Kerala. It's very difficult to introduce Dr. TPS and limit his expertise and wisdom into a single domain, because as I told you, he is multifaceted and involved in many aspects of the society. So, and also he is very close to Balabharati, Balabhuglam, and all our dharmic movements. So we fondly welcome, we wholeheartedly welcome Dr. TP Shashikumar sir to this Balabharati session, and the stage is yours. We wait for your wisdom. Namaste ji.
Namaskaram. I was asked to speak on Dharma, which probably is the base for Bharatiya Shastram. What is Bharat? What is the contribution of Bharat for the whole humanity? It is a way of life which is defined as Sanatana Dharma. Why is it called Sanatanam? The word Sanatanam means which is Nitya Nutanam and Chirapuratanam. Nitya Nutanam means the most modern. Chirapuratanam means the ancient of the ancient. So that means the Sanatana Dharma is which followed by humanity from time immemorial and still continue to follow the same thing. If you look at the civilization which is part of the different development which happened all across the globe, maybe you will come across history of Mesopotamia, Babylonia, etc., etc. But you will see nothing exists today. Even to locate that on the map, people will have problem because the names have changed, culture have changed. But there is a land India which was Bharat once upon a time, which had its boundary from Rome to the east. East boundary was the Pacific Ocean end probably, up to Fiji. Indian Ocean ends and Pacific Ocean starts. And in the west it could be Rome, Romagadesham. It was called Romagadesham. And once upon a time India was not in the above the equator, it was below the equator. So from there up to Kailash. Kailash was supposed to be the center and it goes up to Mongolia, China-Mongolia border. If somebody has to locate where Veda is written, it will be China-Mongolia border. Guma is the place name. So it was a huge land. It is called Bharatagandha. That is why in the morning chanting in the temples, Bharatagande, Bharatadeshe. The Bharataganda is Asia, but Asia is not today's Asia. A Eurasian plate total was part of it. The center of India was Kailash. And from Kailash, if you put a thread and then draw, you will see a circle which may be 6,000 kilometer radius. That was part of India. 12,000 kilometer diameter would have been India's width, but today it is 3,400, 3,600 maximum. And we had a Greenwich meridian. I don't know how many of you know which is Vatsyapuram. Anybody who knows where is Vatsyapuram? People must have heard Vatsyayan. Vatsyayan had a place and that place was called Vatsyapuram. Vatsyapuram is the modern Khajuraho. The traditional old name. If you go to Khajuraho, there is a small stone board which is written once upon a time. This is called Vatsyapuram. It is still written there. That was center of India. That is in Madhya Pradesh even today. Vatsyapuram, you put a stick and then tie it with another stick putting into Lanka, Sri Lanka. Lanka Vatsyapuravandi Sthaneshwara Suralayan. Then put a thread there, that is called the Deshandara Vidayini, Greenwich meridian. So before the Western people had a Greenwich meridian, India had a Greenwich meridian. Our geography was strong, maths was strong, philosophy was strong, all the sciences were strong. But still, these are not what governs development or science. The science is human science, humanity, philosophy. Probably that is the reason even today when somebody gets a doctorate, he gets a DR doctor which is called a PhD. I am also a PhD. PhD is Doctor of Philosophy. That means philosophy is more important. Life philosophy is more important. Life philosophy determines dharma. So dharma is more important. The way of life is more important. Governing that Shastram, there is no part of the world has got this much science. Don't misunderstand science word by today's science. Shastram. What is Shastram? As per Bharatiya definition, Shastram is Sakshat Anubhavair Drishto Na Sruto Na Gurudarshidaha Lokanam Upakaraya Etat Shastram Pradarshidam. What is useful for human being is what is science. Mathematics, physics, chemistry, PhD, if I do, philosophically, I am defining something, finding out something new, and then I am getting a PhD. But if some other wise man brilliant person than me, or me myself looking at my own PhD thesis, I will find what I wrote 30 years back is totally wrong, but my PhD still stay with me. That is today's science, because I can disprove. We had once upon a time 9 planets. After some time we found a better microscope was available. We thought one is not a planet, it is only a dusty particle which we mistook as. But Bharatiya Shastram is not unproved at any point of time. It is not fact, it is truth. Understand the word. I am using word very carefully. Fact is only what we can visualize, see. Somebody can tell me. Guru can tell me this is fact. But Guru cannot tell what is truth. Truth has to be experienced. Once you experience, it cannot be wrong. So Sanatana Dharmam is a Shastram in that sense. Because that is a life principle. Dharma is a life principle. When somebody believes that something is written, codified, written as CRPC, CPC, then only it becomes law. That doesn't become law. The law is what we ourselves understand as our responsibility. But when variety of people who are not disciplined is part of the world, probably codified the rules and with a lot of amendment. That's why amendments come. It keeps on varying from time to time. The law of the land keeps changing. There is another law called tort. Tort is undefined. The court judge can decide what is law there. His logic is essential. Bharatiya Dharma Shastram was never like that. But it has got variations. What is the variation? There is a Swadharma. Dharma can be seen from different perspective. My Dharma, Swadharma. The Swadharma is very well written in Vedas, Upanishads, and essence can be read through Bhagavad Gita also. That Swadharma is how do you lift yourself to higher and higher level, Yoga Rudha level. How do you get yourself into that level where every action which you do become a social, responsible, individual sort of an action. Because we are all social being. Every social being, that is every human being, have got two responsibility. One is being human and second one is being social. That is why they are called social being and human being. So that is one dharma. Not becoming selfish. Be human. Do what best you can do for anybody else in the world. That is considered as Swadharma. But many people understand Swadharma is taking care of self. No. Every action which I do can be useful for somebody else in the world. Ena kena prakarena yasya kasyabi dehinaha sandosham janayat pratna. Whatever I do, wherever I do, whenever I do, that has to become useful for somebody else. If that can be my dharma, that Swadharma is the dharma under Sanatana Dharma, in which the patterns are given as we grow. That becomes your bachelor time, then Garhasthyam, then Vanaprastham. Then you cannot start your public activity when you are supposed to study and gain knowledge. So therefore bachelor's time has to be there. Bachelor's time is your Shraddha. Bachelor is always mistook. Bachelor is not married and unmarried. The translation of bachelor in any other language is Brahmachari. The Brahman, every one of us, probably all of us have got a degree. Bachelor of Arts, Bachelor of Science, Bachelor of Technology, Bachelor of Law. Why the word bachelor is used in the bachelor law? That is Bharatiya contribution to the world. everybody taking a degree of bachelor. The bachelor means the charanam, the movement has to be as like a Brahma. Brahmachari. The movement is like a Brahma. That means he is always inquisitive about learning. Because Brahma is behind Saraswati. You are behind knowledge. So Brahma, move like Brahma means you are always creative. You are behind learning. So one of the basic dharma, individual dharma, learn as much as you can. Don't just keep Saraswati with you. Keep Brahma with you. Then only you can become a brahmachari. But most of the bachelor degrees are by mistake vice chancellor sign saying that this 3 years this fellow was a brahmachari, which they may not be qualified to get it, so it's a mistake. But if you are really 3 years brahmachari, then you become qualified to become a master in that subject. Then you can join at least for masters. I don't know how many such people are there. So that brahmacharyam is what you require first. So after brahmacharyam, you have to earn money. The whole world is not surviving because of sannyasis, rishis, and all that. The whole world is surviving because of grihasthas. So one of the basic dharma for every individual after brahmacharyam is having a good family. Because there is family, I have children, I have my wife, I have my kids, I have my relative, I have mother, father, brother, sister. Everybody is involved in our prayers. Why? Because that concept of having family is what makes us to earn money. If you don't earn money, the world will not progress. So most essential, earning money. Why? Because if you don't earn, you cannot spend, you cannot gift, you cannot make any humanitarian activity. Vishnu's wife is Lakshmi. That means every action, money is must. Without money, nothing will work. So Bharatiya Shastram always supports earning money. Lakshmi is a goddess because of that only. So Lakshmi is essential, earning money is essential. So having learned, remove L, L-E-A-R and learn, remove L, then you can start earning. But not enough. What we need is peaceful life. So have a sufficient bank balance. Maybe your family is grown to such a level where your children also can start earning. Traditionally, it was 50 years, 60 years between that time. Even today, that is the practice. Then, what is that you are supposed to do? Stay at home, enjoy your retirement, help your children to get giving advices, taking care of the young children. That is also dharma. That is why it is called Vanaprastha. Unfortunately, Bharatiya Shastram is never taught systematically. Therefore, many people mislead this word saying Vanaprastham is going to Vanam, going to forest. Vanam is different, Vanam is different. Vanam is forest, Vanam is Akash, space, my department, space department. So Bharatiya Shastram says after Garhasthyam you have to go to space. What does it mean? Your life has to be like a space. What is the beauty of space? You can scratch, you can pollute, nothing will happen to space. Immediately it will get clean. Your manas have to be so clean like space. Space Sanskrit is gham. You add su to that, it becomes sukham. You add du to that, it becomes dukham. So what is space? Your space which you have to create as a place of sukham for everybody around your family and members and all that. So you have to spend and give sufficient sukham to people without involving into their family affair. By the time your children would have got some family, but don't involve in them unless they ask you for advices. So after that, even their children has become slightly graduates. Their bachelorship is over. That means person may be up to 70, 65, 70, 70, 72, 75. Then you have to become a sannyasi. That is, don't actively involve in anything, but then whole life you put into the society. Materialistic requirements can be thrown away from your life. What a systematic method of defining dharma there. So Swadharma is this. Each one of our dharma, Swadharma can be explained so briefly, but I think a little detail which I have gone to. Now after Swadharma, what we have? If I am a professional lawyer, my dharma is entirely different from my dharma as a policeman. My dharma of a scientist is entirely different from my dharma as a teacher. So in each profession I have different dharma. That is called professional dharma. In professional dharma, I will have to do something which may contradict my individual dharma. That doesn't matter. Because being an advocate, I will go to court and then maybe some false things I may tell there. Because I am supposed to save a client who is my client, who has done some mistake. But he came to me saying that I have to save him. So if I have to save somebody, probably I will have to manipulate. You are an accountant, chartered accountant. Chartered accountant is supposed to manipulate the account in such a fashion he can make more profit. There some manipulation is permitted. But individually you are not supposed to do that. Professionally you can do that. Because I am putting some false words in the court, that doesn't mean at home I can do the same thing. So individual dharma is different, professional dharma is different. And I have got a societal dharma. The societal dharma which I am supposed to take care of my village, entirely different style I will have to support my state and the nation. So I have got a dharma which to take care of my place around me. My religious belief, the tradition which my parents had. People keep asking me, why do you talk about Hinduism and then why you are a part of it? Straight answer to them. I don't believe my parents were fools. They believed in some system, so I still believe in that. Because if I don't believe what my parents were believing, it is as good as saying my parents were fools, which I don't want to tell. So, having faith in the Kudumbam, my family, having faith in my practices, that could be religious, that could be caste. Assume that I have taken birth as a blacksmith's son. Nice to learn some technique which my parent have already had an expertise. That doesn't mean I will not do anything else. But I must learn that also. That is my dharma. Without knowing that I cannot say that is not a good job. So basic principle is learn. Now, assume I am serving as a military personnel and my job is in the border. What I am doing there as a professional is entirely different from what I am doing as an individual with my basic dharma. Probably my dharma says don't kill anybody. But I have given a job in the border and enemy is coming. It is permitted, you can kill him. The person who is coming, or somebody who has gone from our land there and then coming back, I can also shoot him because he is coming from the other land. Whether he is from the other land or whether he has gone from our land and then coming back. You know who will come back? A fighter who goes to fight, gets worried that he is getting killed, he comes back. That is not Veeramurtyu. It is returning back from his own job. He is the biggest enemy. So anybody who is coming from the other side of the enemy territory, I am supposed to shoot him without looking at what is my caste, what is my basic swadharma. I don't have to see whether that man is good or bad, whether individually he has done some mistake or he is a wise man. I don't have to see all that. He stands on the other side. This justifies Mahabharata, where Arjuna stood and then killed all of them. So if you look at the scriptures which we have, if you analyze like this, we will see Mahabharata itself defines the whole Dharma Shastram professionally, individually, family wise, and as a professional, as a Raja, what I am supposed to do. As my Swadharmam is more important than Paradharmam. Bhagavan clearly explains all this. What a beautiful scripture, which if you analyze like this, what it defines is the Dharma itself. Probably not the way what Ramayana explained, because Ramayana is maybe 8 lakhs years back, probably 16 lakhs years back. We don't know, somewhere between 8 lakhs to 16 lakhs years back. But Mahabharata is only 6,000 years back, 5,400 years back. So what is Bharatiya Shastra Dharma says? It can be modified according to the time, according to the place you can change it. It is not very static. Because at the border, what a soldier does, he cannot do the same killing somebody in his native. Though there is a bad person who deserves actual death punishment, because his job is not defined in that place. So what is defined? What is dharma? Where, when, why, how, who does it, in front of whom you are doing, whether you are doing it hidingly, whether you are doing it to show somebody else, all these matters. So dharma is something which is like a liquid water which occupies in a vessel. It takes the shape as where it is to be applied. That is the beauty of dharma. That is why Bharatiya Shastram, Bharatiya Dharma is existing for long. If it would have been too rigid, it would have been rewritten for long. That Bharatiya Shastram, Bharatiya Dharma is part of our constitution even today. That is why amendments are given. You will see even what is written by Chanakya in Arthashastra as a percentage of interest, which in his economics books, Arthashastra, what is written long back. Even today it is applicable. Though the percentage may not be same, Arthashastra defines if you are taking loan for academic purpose it is different, for business purpose it's different, for banking purposes it's different. Today also the same percentage would have been varying, but there is a difference which is kept. So what is written in Bharatiya Shastra with a basic foundation under the principles of Sanatana Dharma still exists so strong and undamaged, but modified according to time. So we have what is called a Swadharmam, what is called a Kudumba Dharmam, what is a professional Dharmam, what is a community Dharmam, that can be caste and that religion and all that. And there is a Kshetra Dharma. Kshetra means the place. Is it a village, district, state, and ultimately we have the whole world. How we have to consider the whole world around us. How do we have to consider the earth around us? The physical, natural, bhumi, earth. But what we develop around is called the world, lokam. So there is a difference between earth and lokam. There is a difference between country and nation. Country is the physical country. Nation is the concept which we have. Similarly, as we take birth, we are only an individual. What is our basic dharma? From being an individual, you migrate and then transform yourself to a citizen. So that feeling of nation when we have, for each citizen, we feel proud of our country as we feel proud of our own mother, father. So when we learn different scriptures, any poetry which was never written, probably was not written even in the leaf, but just came from the tongue to ear for generations to generations, which we have for every day-to-day activity which we do, starting from morning as we wake up until we go back to sleep. There are different set of prayers as part of what we do. All these prayers which I've compiled to call it as Nitya Sloka. From morning till evening, what is that we are supposed to do? Everything with a time scale given. That is there in my blog. Nitya Sloka Dr. TPS, if you type in my website, you can see. And many of these slokas are taken and then I tried to expand it philosophically, scientifically. For example, lighting the lamp, Karagre Vasade Lakshmi. What is philosophy behind it? What is the science behind it? What we really understand is what an insight these people had. The Sankalpa of Bhagavan. With great insight they have written. So with all this, even the picture of a Bhagavan, if you look at it, they have one hand with a lot of blessings, but multiple hands are there for many of them, with multiple variety of arms and ammunitions well equipped. Why? It always says Agradas Chaduro Veda. In the front you can show your Veda advices, good words, nice scriptures, philosophy, everything will work. But some places it doesn't work. You know what is the Bharatiya Dharma prescribed by Bhagavan? All the god and goddesses of Bharatiya Shastra, which explains the Sankalpa of a god with only blessings? No. For every god there is a Prishtaja Shasharam Dhanur. Back, piche, you keep your bow and arrow. All the difficult, toughest weapons. Why? Wherever advice has to work, it has to be given. Sharadabi, Shapadabi. Wherever Shapa is to be given, curse have to be given, Bhagavan says give curse. Wherever Sharam has to be used, use it. So Bharatiya Shastram always have sufficient advices. In Bhagavad Gita also you can see Krishna used all his advices. He always have Sudarshanam. Sudarshanam is his equipment. Darshanam is philosophy. Sudarshanam is best philosophy. Always he used best philosophy only. He is a great philosopher. Dr. Krishnan. PhD. Doctor of Philosophy. That is what actually. He always gave advices. But then if it doesn't work, Sharadabi, wherever arrow has to be used. So Bhagavan, what is told in Sanatana Dharma, which is codified in our Gita, probably that is what in our traditional Ramayana, what Rama also has done and shown. Rama directly has done and shown. I've got a small book, a poetry of mine, Life of Love, in which there is one small poetry called Arrow Comes from Shadow. The arrow comes from shadow says, in one Janma what you get or what you do will come back to you in another Janma as what you deserve in the same style. So one arrow which Rama gave hidingly, it comes back to you in arrow form to Krishna in the next Janma. So Bharatiya Dharma Shastra clearly defined by depicting the incarnations of God as examples. If you divert from Dharma, definitely it will come back to you in the next Janma. That is why we have Purusharthas. We have got a desire. Everyone should have desire. Without a desire, you don't earn money. So I have a desire. I have to go to Singapore. But I don't have money. Probably, if I have got education, maybe I am a rich man otherwise, and I lost money, maybe I have got good relatives, somebody will definitely sponsor my ticket. So not necessarily dhanam means directly money from my cash. It can be education, it can be power and position, it can be your goodwill, it can be your knowledge, because it comes through sponsorship. So if you have a desire, definitely to satisfy you need dhanam, artham. Dhanam is direct artham. Indirect dhanam also can be there, that is generally called artham. So I have kamam. To satisfy that I need artham. Okay, I am not able to get a ticket to Singapore at all, but still I have got a desire to go. Unstoppable desire. What do? I will steal money from somewhere. Such practices of getting some artham not in the human way is called adharmic. So dharma is defined as what you get from somebody because of your wisdom which you have. If you don't deserve it and you catch from someone, that is called adharma. So we have what is kamam and what is artham, and getting that through dharmic and adharmic, two ways are defined. And what will happen if you do only dharmic path? Definitely you get moksha. If you do in adharmic, you will get no moksha. But moksha is only a temporary good time. It is not permanent. What is higher than that? Ishtade labade surgam purte moksham avapniyat. You do social service not for your own desire, do for somebody else and then get to that happiness. That is called the real moksha. Joining with God. So dharma, in some other fashion, it is defined as ishtakarma and purtakarma. Ishtakarma is selfish for my family, if I associate, my factory, my people, that my concept is there. When you lose that concept, what you do is called purtakarma. The well which was dug, or maybe the plant which was planted by my grandparents, still I am enjoying the fruits. I am still taking water from the well which my grandfather has dug. So that means it goes, and not only me, the whole village was using it once upon a time. So a fruit bearing tree which I plant, I am not eating the mangoes. Even worms are eating, birds are eating, squirrel is eating. So I am not taking the fruits of and the benefit of what is done by my parents or grandparents. What I do will not be taken by my children. It will be for the whole humanity, whole living beings. If I can do any such service, that is called Purta Karma. Vapi Kupatadakani Devatanayani cha Annapradhanamudyanam. Some water sources, some trees which I plant, which is Annapradhanam, not beauty trees. There has to be fruits so that many will get benefit. The beauty of the flower can be enjoyed only when my tummy is full. Maybe some butterfly can take some, but it is not that well supported to the whole ecology. So do such activities, that is called Purta Karma. Therefore, Sanatana Dharma in some environmental sense, ecological sense, is defined as Ishtapurtam. See, I don't know how many ways I have looked at Dharma now. Not one life is not good enough. But I know it is 45 minutes now, almost 40 minutes over. I think I should open it up for questions or clarifications. That would be better.
Dhanyavad ji. Great thought-provoking session. Definitely, we are entering into the Q&A session. Before that, with your permission, let me please run a poll for just 2 minutes.
Yeah.
We'll get the attendance. We have from UAE, Oman, Kuwait, Bahrain, Qatar, and Saudi Arabia. I request everyone to mark your attendance from respected countries. It seems there is no one from Bahrain. I saw Sunilji was there. Sunilji, ഞാൻ കണ്ടിരുന്നു. Sunilji ഇല്ല ഇവിടെ. വരുന്നുണ്ട്. Out of 237 people we have, it's around 120 from UAE so far. 35 from Oman. Great number. Only 1 minute left.
Maybe I have gone many times to Oman,
Probably yes.
Kuwait, Saudi Arabia, Bahrain, Qatar. Okay, I have gone all these places.
Great.
Last year, same time, I was in Kuwait.
Kuwait, yeah.
Because of my visit, 17 schools got holidays. Because each day I was in different schools for teaching training teachers.
Oh.
So they had to declare holiday.
We have 30 seconds. Yeah, the poll ends everyone. Let's go to the first question, which is from Kritika ji from Abu Dhabi. I shall unmute her. Kritika Umesh, you can hear. I'm trying to unmute you. Kritika ji, please go ahead.
Yeah, I'm Kritika from UAE. I'm 11 years old. So my question is that what are the 5 aspects of Dharma in life?
What is the 5 aspects of Dharma? What do you know?
I don't know much about it, so...
Where did you get these 5 aspects?
Sorry?
What are the 5 aspects you got, or what is that context in which this question came? Which are the 5 aspects?
I don't know about it.
Give some
much.
examples now, so that I can connect it.
Okay.
One.
Um,
Anybody who knows the 5 aspects, I am not able to connect it. In what context is it coming? Which textbook describes it? Kritika, I love to learn it from you.
from me, we had a chapter based on Ashoka.
Okay.
So in that, there were 5 of them saying.
Yeah. See, that is what I said. The dharma, for each one of them, they define. That's why I asked you the context.
Okay.
For a ruler, his dharma is entirely different. So he would have kept like a CRPC, CPC, different number as given, and he said, these are my dharma. For example, probably his dharma as a king is to have roads. Earlier there used to be pond. He defines giving sufficient money to these people. That keeps changing. That's why I asked which context. See, the dharma of a ruler today during the COVID time can be entirely different from dharma what is in a peaceful time.
Okay.
The Kshatriya dharma can change during the war time and the peace time. So that's why I asked Kritika, what is that exactly? Maybe you should text it to me, that portion, then I can explain it to you. Probably I have not done that much good during my, which class you are in?
I'm in 7th now.
Yeah, actually I failed in my 7th social science. Kritika should text me 9447437948. My number can be seen from WhatsApp, or go to Google and then type in Dr. TPS.
I will.
Yeah. I will love to see that book and the textbook. Probably I did not learn that. My brother was my social science teacher during that time.
However, thank you Kritika, for the nice question. The next question is from Dr. Gopal Iyer. Dr.
Okay.
G, please.
Hello, sir.
Namaskaram.
Good evening, sir. Namaskaram.
Evideyanavo?
You talked about personal dharma, professional dharma, and rashtra dharma.
Yeah.
If there is a conflict comes, which dharma we have to prevail, sir?
It is always given as example in Sri Rama's case also. He has a personal dharma as a husband. He has a personal dharma as a father. What to do to his father, what to do to his wife, what to do his mother and young mother, sister, brother. But beyond that was the king Bharata who asked him to do something. So Rashtra Dharma is higher when it compared to anything else.
Professional
Assume,
dharma, sir. Professional dharma and personal dharma. Profession and person.
yeah. If you cannot adjust in the profession, you must quit the job.
Okay.
Because
So rashtra dharma, personal dharma.
yeah, it's always in that higher. I remember somebody was telling I am not able to do my job as a police. I said, who asked you to become police? There are much different options of job available to you. Otherwise, you should get adjusted. Correct?
Okay, sir.
So it's always understood that Rama did not listen to his father, but Rama listened to the king of the country. You understood? As a father, I am definitely sure he will never ask. Otherwise, he will not collapse. No. He collapsed. As a father, he couldn't stay. Rama going to forest. But as a king, what he gave to somebody as a word, that has to stay. Otherwise, people will question, what is that king? Tomorrow he is going to be a king. People will question, what sort of king you are? You did not listen to king. So why should I listen to king will be the question. There are plenty of such examples in our scriptures if you start taking. Where are you from? Where are you now? In UAE?
I'm in Fijera.
Fijera.
From Kerala, Trivandrum.
Yeah,
Trivandrum.
Fijera. Good.
Thanks.
Next question is from Sujaji PU. I'm trying to unmute her. Sujaji. I'm unable to unmute her. I don't know why. I've opened the question. I've opened the floor for Gajesh Daripal ji from Oman. Gajesh ji, please.
Namaskar, Dr. It's always very thought-provoking to listen to you.
Namaskaram. Oman. Yeah.
Yes, sir. I have heard you a couple of times in Oman.
Yeah. I think 2 years back, New Year Day, I was there.
Yes, Varshpatipula, and I have heard you in Toastmasters also.
Yes.
This is my observation. I may not be correct. I find that we have become more ritualistic rather than understanding what we are, who we are, and to practice it in real life. We are just sticking to the rituals. So, is there anything being done so that at least we and our next generation understands what we are and be connected to the roots?
Probably my generation and your generation. Maybe there is a small difference, 20 years difference. We were the worst generation probably who have not learned all this. I am so hopeful and then highly positive that tomorrow's generation will be much better.
Right.
1970s, these sort of assume that we had all the technical facility, we would have never had this chat. 30 years, lot of change we have seen. Last year, almost this time, 2 years before I was in Kuwait. Last year, almost this time, I was in USA teaching Bhagavad Gita. Had huge acceptance. Now, during this lock time, 50 days I continuously talking on Bharatiya Shastra. Bhagavad Gita 7th chapter I started today. 50 days continuous. There are some days where 500 viewers are there. There are some questions which are coming. Do you think the world is changing and then going positive, understanding some... There are a lot of people who want to learn. But what is the problem today is there are so-called famous people who do blah 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 and become famous in this world without even understanding the difference between what is Anushtanam and Acharam. Anushtanam is the basic principles. Acharam is what is changed over time and place. So people are ritualistic based on the Acharam without understanding Anushtanam. That was what that Gajesh ji's question. So we have to teach Anushtanam. That is the base. Thanks a lot. God bless you.
Thank you, Gajesh, for a very timely question. I think, Shashi sir, you will also agree that the society is more ritualistic these days, especially if you come to our place and etc.
But nice that at least because of the ritual it is existing, it is not lost.
That's true.
And we have some option to understand what is behind it and then look at it. They are the people who are sustaining it.
True. Now we have Sumesh. Dr. G, I think you understand.
Yeah. I am probably the maximum place where, not in India, maximum place where I would have given lecture is Gulf. I have less audience in India, probably.
So I have a simple question, Shashi ji. what is the better way or the mode, as we call it, to reach out to the children and inculcate more dharmic values, at least the basic ones in children, especially for the streams like Balabharati, Balavihar, etc. Where shall we focus more?
See, one is academic, which we have less control sometime. One is what happens now. Last 1.5-2 years on Amrita TV, we had a competition on Ramayana based competition and Mahabharata based competition. I was also judge there. So we have seen it is not few children who are competing or learning. If you look at today's television, the media which can influence, or probably cinema, once upon a time there were a lot of stories from the epics which came as movies. Last 2-3 years, if you look at movie, most of them are based on some king and their warriorship. There are no much effort, funding, nice themes which could glorify the Indian tradition. Two things which can go other than education to get into public: cinema, television. These are the two modes, and lot of competitions, reality shows and such things, because unless we talk to them in their language, it's difficult for us to capture them. There are plenty of work happening, but I'm sure if we can tell the same story in a more applicable day-to-day life practical way, picking up lessons from the scriptures, I'm sure the Bharatiya Shastram can be retold. Once upon a time in 1970s, going to West, Chinmaya Swami started, and then lot of other Swamijis. If you look at plenty of them, whoever you know as traditional carriers of messages of Bharatiya Shastram, all of them would have got their packaging done in West, including Ramana Maharshi had writers as assistants from the West. So there is an actual requirement of understanding who is the real people who can propagate this and put them in the nice package. Then I'm sure the marketing will happen and that will reach into young children very easily. We had Balarama, we had a lot of small magazines. We have got Chandamama, we have got a lot of stories. All of them carried some stories here and there. Vikramaditya was known to us not through academics, I'm sure. So there is a requirement of remaking such things. When I went to West, I have seen some corners where Indian scriptures have been retold and written as small books, and then children I have seen, they are fond of reading it. So probably digital or printed, doesn't matter. And this is the right time. When I'm sure most of the Gulf countries, when I went, though they may not know me because I'm not that active in that, I have always searched where Balavihar is happening and then asked somebody and found some contact. Some evening or some time I have spent with Balavihar, or maybe Balagokulam, when we had an international program which conducted in 2010 in April in Thrissur, where I was a coordinator. That year we started in Hyderabad, 2010. 2020 we are celebrating 10th year. We had a 1-year celebration. And the youth who participated in competitions like elocution, debates and all, with the Bharatiya Shastra as a focus, was hundreds in number from different universities. So I'm sure getting into such competitions among children, they will at least learn and then come forward. We have seen good potential in that.
Very good. Thank you, Ji. That was a beautiful reply. Yeah, we will definitely opt for that options. Yeah. Now, ഡോക്ടർ ജി, ഞാൻ ഈയിടെ കാണുന്നുണ്ടായിരുന്നു അങ്ങയുടെ ഈ ഭഗവത്ഗീത ബേസ് ചെയ്തിട്ടുള്ള ഒരു പരിപാടി. അതായത് പരിപാടിയല്ല, അത് പുതിയ പരിപാടി അല്ല, അങ്ങ് ഭഗവത്ഗീത ബേസ് ചെയ്തിട്ട് കാലങ്ങളായിട്ട് സംസാരിച്ചുകൊണ്ടിരിക്കുന്ന ആളാണ്. അപ്പൊ ഈ ഭഗവത്ഗീത ബാലഭാരതിയിലെ സാധാരണ ഭഗവത്ഗീത ഞങ്ങൾ എടുക്കുന്നത് തുടക്കത്തിൽ അത് ഓരോ ചാപ്റ്റർ ആയിട്ട് അങ്ങ് എടുക്കുകയായിരുന്നു ചെയ്തത്. കാരണം ഞങ്ങള് ഈ ചിന്മയ ചാൻഡിങ് കോമ്പറ്റീഷനുമായിട്ട് ഏകദേശം ഹാൻഡ് ഇൻ ഹാൻഡ് ആയിരുന്നു പോയിരുന്നു. We used to go along with the Chinmaya chanting competition. Then due to certain limitations that we had in terms of the timing and everything, we decided to bring it down to certain limited shlokas in Balabharati. Mostly in Balabharatis here in UAE. So what do you suggest? Basically, we should go just asking the children to memorize Bhagavad Gita, or we also must give them some meanings of it?
See, beginning, yes, you have to blindly learn. ഈ ഒരു ബുക്കാണ് എൻ്റെ ഭഗവത്ഗീത പഠനം. ഒരു 1000-ലധികം പ്രാവശ്യം വായിച്ചിട്ടുണ്ടാവും. Do you think I go through the meaning internally, visualize, understand the way which I am doing today, maybe 30 years back when I started? Doesn't happen. Assume I go from chapter 1, except first sloka. The rest of the sloka would have been boring, actually boring. Because Bhagavan is not very much interested in the warfare, how is it assembled and all that, right? Or any one of us may not be interested unless you are into that area. So what is interesting probably could be to select maybe few very good slokas which has an essence and meaning, and then understand those meaning first. See, for example, I have a small book called Life Made Simple, in which there is one question, one answer, that is Bhagavad Gita. There are a lot of people who got a lot of interest just because he has seen this. Because it just says the first chapter, one question which is there, one question, one answer. So this is Bhagavad Gita for me, half a page. I am sure anyone who reads that half a page will have interest to know what is this all about. If you have a big book, probably you are scared, worried, you don't want to get into. So that once you give one small taste of it, I am sure, then select a few of them. Maybe first sloka, one answer. That is how I do. The first sloka and the answer is given by Sanjay at the end. So that is how it is connected. You know the beginning and the end. Then you know Bhagavan speaks at the second chapter, 11th sloka, and then ends in 18th chapter, 63rd, 66th, up to that. Oh, then this is the answer which Bhagavan wants to give. Then get into that, and then go to the center. So this could be the best methodology. Maybe Chinmaya's time there was a different, I don't know whether Chinmaya defined Chinmaya Balavihar has to go like this. It may not have happened. Probably when you look at some of the slokas, even today I mentioned, I don't know whether Krishna told this story, or maybe Vyasa retold this, or maybe Vyasa's disciples would have added these slokas. It looks like 4 slokas are explanations about one sloka. I don't think Krishna will have that much time, whether Arjuna will have that much, no. If you probably describe like this, anybody will understand. Then Arjuna would not have had any questions. So because it was so crisp, multiple people would have added to that. That could have what happened. So the essence of slokas can be very few. Today also somebody from West who was my student who listened to my Bhagavad Gita started explaining sloka by sloka. I said, don't try to do this, you will stop immediately. Pick up only very few slokas which are most, that is how I also did. I did in Columbus when I selected only few slokas and then covered many chapters. Then people found interest. If I would have started systematically, I am sure many people will skip and go. then I could capture all of them, because they are thinking that, oh, chapter 9 is over. Yeah, in less than a year, chapter 9 is only Saturdays I had classes. So they will feel, oh, we are on top of the mountain. Now we can enjoy. Then from next chapter onwards, I did sloka by sloka. Giving a assurance, I will come back to the first and second chapters later. Even now I did second chapter first, but first chapter I left. But I am not going to leave it. I will come back to that maybe after 18th chapter again. So that could be a better iteration which I found. That is the method which I love to learn. Then I found that children are also accepting it.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure. Thank you for that, Sadiq, Dr. Ji. And next question is from Parvati Sajid Ji from Dubai. Parvati Ji, I shall unmute you now. Yeah, please.
Namaste.
Namaskaram.
I'm not switching the video because Wi-Fi issue is there.
Yeah.
Sorry for that. Actually, I had the same doubt what Jamnaji have asked you, and you had explained it very well. So, same thing. I had learned Bhagavad Gita, a few slogas from each chapter. My mother taught me, and she had given some overall concept about it. And I also had doubt in between who had said and what it is. Lot of confusion, and it's if we say in colloquial language, it's like avyal. Sometimes I really get confused. I'm not expert in that, but whatever my mother taught me, it is there in my head. I'm trying to spread it to others also through Balabharati and all. So same way, can we take up this concept? For example, Ramayanam or whatever, the ethics or whatever the concept we want to convey to the students, not students, our kids. If we are conveying as an overall concept, and if we are going to give an open idea to them, so that it will be easy for them to develop their ideas in that later when they will grow more than what we know. So they will understand what we know, more than what we know. So it will be helpful or not. It's is it the right way or not? I just want to know. Is it clear?
It is very clear, Parvati Ji. It's the way we have to get into. That is what I said. Even Ramayana, Ekasloka Ramayana is there. So I am sure the essence of Ramayana can be told in one sloka. I was conducting a camp with the children who don't even understand their mother tongue, or forget about Sanskrit. It doesn't go close to them at all. But still I wanted to tell some message to them. I had 150 children who are from 11th grade to 4th grade in USA. The Ramayana Ekasloka in English was taught to them. I don't know how many of you heard this. Look at Ramayana, Dr. TPS. Rama, Lakshmana, Sugriva and Hanuman gathered a great army of monkeys under the leadership of Hanuman, who was a great warrior. Then they went to the city of Lanka, wherein Sita suffered agony, fought and killed the cruel Ravana, and went back Ayodhya again. Is it good enough to tell what Ramayana is in a brief? I think this sort of creative activity is what is essential to get into the younger generation. Such creative activities must be popularized, and there has to be a competition of teaching this in creative way like this. We can make a lot of Rama, Sita and Lakshmana and such can be. I was suggesting the competition in Amrita TV. When the children competition was over, there was a plan for making it to family, adults. I was telling them you cannot ask adults to chant sloka and explain the way the children have done, because children will learn much faster. And having done by children, adults have more worries, because if they are not able to perform, children will start scolding them back. Sometimes it happens. The ego problem is much more for adults. So I was telling, to make the Ramayana as a casual discussion in family, how do they do? Such competitions were what we were planning. So therefore I think message has to go, and as you said, select a few slokas and then tell all of them one sloka. Abhyasena tu kaunteya. I'm sure when we practice, definitely we will get it. It was
So
so...
it's not like a, sorry for interrupting. It is not a, like, it's like many of students and parents think we have to learn all the slogas, then only we can say we are expert in
No,
Bhagavad Gita.
that is where our problem is. That is what I said. No, some people think that if they know the sloka and the sloka number, then they are the experts. No, the concept is more important. See, even the same Ramayana, I must have chanted many times, but still to recite now, I looked at the book. I have no hesitation in telling I don't know that by heart. Probably that is what I have learned from somebody, just modified and written. Nothing wrong. We are not testing memory. We are testing the concept. But
Can you just give that book what you said to refer? Sorry, I'm interrupting a lot. Like,
my number is there. I think you can just test. I can, all of them, all my books are available on internet. Go to my website, but it's huge. There are more than 100 blogs. So what exactly you want? The slokas, all these probably there. Either you can type Dr. TPS and what you want. You will get something in my website or in blog or YouTube.
yes, sure.
Dr. TPS Ramayana English. If you type, you will get this Ekasloka Ramayana there. I was teaching in some school teachers training program. You will get. Otherwise, Parvati can always WhatsApp to me and I'll be available to you.
Ramnaji has given the number to us.
Yeah.
We will.
Always welcome. Where are you from?
I'm right now I'm in Dubai. I'm basically from Ernakulam.
Dubai where?
Al-Khus area.
Al-Khus area. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. God bless you.
Now it's a question from Narmada ji. Narmada ji comes from Alai. Narmada ji, please.
Namaste.
Namaskaram.
My question is about emotional intelligence.
Yeah. I have a book on emotional intelligence.
Emotional intelligence. I have seen it in your blog, but I didn't read it actually.
Okay.
Yesterday only Ramnath sent me the thing, so I have seen that.
Yeah.
So I thought I will just ask you about
Sure.
it.
Welcome.
Because nowadays in professional life, this emotional intelligence is projected as a essential leadership quality.
Yeah.
So how can we inculcate emotional intelligence in our kids in BB? Because I'm handling Kishore level kids, like from 8th standard to 12th standard. So based on our spiritual works, how can we explain it to them?
You are Kerala or Tamil or Kannada or Telugu?
I'm from Kerala, Wayanad.
Okay. Ponal Pogattum Poda. Theriyuma? That is the best emotional intelligence. I don't think children require any training on emotional intelligence. It's only parents who require emotional intelligence. They are intelligent enough and they are emotionally totally... See, when we learn psychology of babies.
Yes.
Babies are always pampered. Oh my beta, always they are only getting. No giving is not there in the dictionary.
Yes.
They only get. If they cry, definitely they will get. When they go to schools in young, either nursery, L kilogram, U kilogram, M kilogram, whatever you have, LKG, UKG and all that. To them, there is a grabbing between the children. That is where they learn to give. So the early childhood psychology is different from the baby childhood. The baby up to 3.5. The early childhood is 3.5 to 5 years. That is where the nursery NKG. Their emotion, only emotion is there. Intelligence is nil. They don't think. either from the teacher or from the parent or from the children, wherever they can grab, they want that, because they got that uncontrollable situations. Fighting will teach them, oh, this is the method to survive. Or they may learn, if somebody want an eraser, give the chocolate and get eraser. Understood?
Yes.
So giving and taking policy. So the best method to teach them at a different level, it is different. What is motivation for a young child? If they sing a song, I will give you chocolate. But I cannot tell Narmada, you chant one Bhagavad Gita sloka, I will give you chocolate.
No.
A teenager, he will ask you, give me money or give me a card, give me a ticket for a movie, or maybe you give me a motorbike, then I will get first rank in BTech. So as we grow, our emotional impact on any of these, what is called motivation, for an intelligence to use in the concentrated effort changes. That depends on each individual's background, family. See, you cannot use, I am rich for my cup of tea. But my richness is different from the richness of a servant maid. So each one of them depends on their background, we will have to look at them. Whether he is a Kuchela or Krishna. Earlier, looking at the dress, we know whether he is a Kuchela or not. Kuchela means bad dress. But today we cannot. All of them dress up in the uniform way. Correct? So teachers cannot understand their background looking at their uniform. So it's much difficult for teachers to find out this emotional intelligence applicable in the classroom. So we need a lot of exercises. What is generally done is drama, some activity. That activity will bring out the real emotional intelligence. Got it?
Okay, so
All
I got it.
the academic related competitions like a drama, sports, all these group activities, any of them which is conducted in schools as co-curricular are all for emotional intelligence.
Okay, so you are suggesting like we can have group activities.
100% they will change.
Okay.
See, I have done some group activity programs for KG teachers also sometime, to train them how do you make this activity in classrooms.
Okay.
Right? Probably maybe one or two. Those days I didn't have a recording facility and I did not record. But maybe one which I did in Qatar, Doha, somewhere in some schools, some small tip may be there. Or if you tell me, I can design and give it to you. That's very simple.
Okay.
Are you a teacher by any chance?
No, not now. Before I was a teacher. That's
Yeah,
why I got this.
only teachers will have this problem. That's why I'm asking.
Yeah, I was a guest. I was working as guest lecturer in Kerala before in
Okay.
a polytechnic.
Okay.
But after that I came.
So I'm sure it's very simple. Games and such things. That is what should happen at home also. We have the hide and seek programs, no?
Yes.
So they don't get that easily. You will have to hunt for that. There are small games. And they fail many times. When they fail 100 times, they know. See, I am a person who failed many times in my life. So I am so courageous. Anything is no problem for me. So failure, acceptance of failure is what is being taught in games. But that is what should happen.
Okay, so we should more focus on group activities and
Yeah.
games like this.
Even at home, with the friends, with family, there can be a lot of activities. Every time your child need not win.
Yes.
We generally what we do is, we will ask the elder son, let that younger daughter pass all the time, you forget it, so that they will get boosted. No, they should also fail. So there is a psychology. In most of the houses, the second child is more selfish and the first one is generally very good. That is because the parents have always molded to them like that. Got it? It's a beautiful psychology. I'm a psychotherapist, so you can look at my lectures on psychology.
Surely I'll be reading your book. Actually, I raised this question because when I go to my workplace, I have noticed that generally from our culture, people are just keeping quiet. Whatever happens, they are just keeping quiet. They are like highly tolerant. But other people from other religious background, they are very smart enough, and they are just the sentence what you use, no? Same like that, they are just handling the situation.
See, that is because we actually not opened up to the society that easily. Though there is a camouflage saying that our religious people are more open, but if you look at other religious people are more open than us because they have classrooms for that. There is a requirement of social gathering. Here, our religion, social gathering is not at all a requirement. We don't attend such gatherings. So there are very, very specific ways of nurturing them as a social being and making them to know how to react to the situations in the society if you want to gain. Here we are only learning from family, and anybody outside the family we should not even talk, don't interact. That is what we learned. Then only the fight comes, right? We don't know how to fight because we don't even know how to interact. See, most of the academic institutions, when I go and give a lecture, I must have taught more than 8 lakhs teachers, maybe 10 to 12 lakh students. Easily we know the children, those who are asking questions, those who are contacting on mobile, all of them are people who are trained with social interaction. Not at the business level when they got into job, academic level itself. Because they have Sunday classes where they know how to talk to higher people. Here, when there is a higher people, we will ask our children, don't come. Even when we go for marriage, we will tell our children, don't come. You study, we will go for marriage and come back. So children are kept at home. So where is the social gathering? It's only peer group murmuring and then knowing all the bad things. The so-called social gathering is abandoned. Mostly was not happening. Even today it is not happening. Even with the advancement in this world. If you look at the teenagers are never attending any programs with their parents. So happy listening to such questions.
Thank you.
Sure. Thanks everyone for raising their questions. And thank you, Dr. D, for those beautiful answers.
Namaskar.
We have already reached our time limit. Now we have to call it a day. Before that, Balabharati would like to express our sincere gratitude to you for spending this valuable time with us for this 1.5 hours or more. And we definitely had a lot of takeaways. And even I have scribbled more than 2 pages here. And I have already shared all the details. I mean, your Facebook identity here. Also, the website details I have already earlier circulated in our circle. Also, just now I shared your file number as well, which is having also the WhatsApp. So we will be bothering you in future also sometimes.
It is never a botheration. It's always a pleasure to see people and talk to them and share what we know. If you don't share, it is a burden. So I am becoming lighter and lighter by sharing what I have.
Correct, yeah. Thank you very much for that kindness, Dr. G. And we once again express our gratitude.
Thank you. God bless you. Anyone can contact me at any point of time. Thank you. God bless you.
Namaste Ji. And we will just finish everything with Shanti Mantra.
Yeah.
Om Sarve Bhavantu Sukhinah Sarve
Sandhu Niramaya
Sarve Bhadrani Pashyantu Ma Kachchit Bhave भवेत्। ॐ
शांति शांति शांति।
नमस्ते जी।
Thank you.
Ramakrishnan ji, namaste. Sunil ji, namaste, 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 namaste. Namaste to everyone and Shubha Ratri. Namaste. Dr. ji, namaste once again. Namaste.